Cheers, Eddie Buckaroos. How the heck are you? You know who I am. Anyway, I digress. Hey, it's my typical 7 o'clock on a Friday, going out to various social media. Typically go live straight to Facebook, but I thought I'd use the StreamYard because I kind of like the way it works anyway. So I picked this up a couple weekends back. I just got around to opening it though, a little bit earlier today, to try some neat. I had an ounce and a half neat that I did a video that I uploaded to YouTube already. But I wanted to try a cocktail with it here. I had an idea for, well, let's say a Manhattan-inspired cocktail using the Balcones or Balcones. I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Texas pot still bourbon at 92 proof. Let me show you that bottle, front and back. So what I've got in here is about 3 ounces of the whiskey, and replacing the sweet vermouth. It's kind of a version of a dry Manhattan, actually. So what I've got is this from Kiltoy Winery. It's their Purple Harp. It's an 18% dessert wine. It's a white, so I used that. So I used about an ounce of this and a few dashes cherry bitters, served straight up, chilled glass, as you can see, with a bourbon cherry, Collins bourbon cherry. But I did want to have some of this neat first, so I know what notes I was working with. And it's big and bold and not as sweet as you might imagine, so I thought it would be perfect for a cocktail like this. Adding this particular product is sort of similar to a dry vermouth or the Purple Harp, but you know, it is different. It's not quite the same, but I'm using that in place of either sweet vermouth or dry vermouth, depending on which way you were going with the cocktail. They have a red dessert wine, a fortified wine. They call it a port-like wine at 18% as well that we'd used, and it's gone. But I'm almost out of this one, but I want to finish this one up. I've been trying different applications, right, to replace the sweet vermouth, trying to find things that would work. I found I really enjoy cream sherry in place of sweet vermouth. I've used some Amaro in place. Oh, yeah, that's delicious, yeah. Oh, mercy. Yeah, that's nice. It would be the perfect digestive cocktail as I am having it now after dinner. It is the first Friday in Lent, and sometimes we blow it on the first Friday. We did make it through the first Friday. Dinner was some coconut shrimp with my homemade rice pilaf blend. May not be a traditional pilaf, but yeah, we use a kind of a wild rice blend. You mix a little long grain white rice, a few other things. My particular blend of herbs and spices, if you will. I like to add some slivered almonds, which I did to this batch. And I was out of my pasta though. I like to add some orzo to it, or sometimes I even add. I've added a fideo to have a thin pasta in there, but. Thanks, David. Thanks for the thumbs up, buddy. If you got any questions or comments, put it up there. Anybody ever wants to be part of the video, let me know, and I'll send you the link. Gosh, that's nice. You know, the thing is, yeah, every once in a while I get criticized for trying a version of a cocktail, but the truth is, these cocktail recipes were not handed down from God to Moses. You know, you can do anything you want with them. A lot of folks want to tell you, well, you can only do this. If you want to call it a Manhattan, it has to be that way. Well, that may be true. That's why I always say, well, it's a version of. It's a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. And there's some that I've given names to. I did a cocktail, Valentine's Day-inspired cocktail using a couple local products, Mooney's. They have a chocolate cherry whiskey and a bourbon. So I did about equal parts of both. Yeah, man, I did. I had some cherry bitters and the bourbon cherry, and I called it the night in, you know. So I'm going out on Valentine's Day. Yeah, you know, have some good meat, have some good seafood. Make yourself a surf and turf. It's going to cost you a lot less. Have a good product at home. I know some folks asked in a food group that I was in, where can you get, it was on Valentine's Day, where can we get reservations today? And I said, you should go to Sugarman's Market, get you a nice steak. They've got sweetheart ribeyes. They even had like some bacon wrapped asparagus and some twice baked potatoes. Go buy the stuff. They've got bourbon, they've got wine there. Get yourself some bourbon and some wine, go home. You might spend some money, but it's going to be a lot less than going out, and it's going to be a much better meal. Because the quality of the products there, Sherman's, are insane, man. They are good. They're not cheap, no, but the products are amazing. The quality, I mean, you're going to get prime, or choice or prime. You're going to get. They've got Wagyu. I mean, they've just the products are just amazing. And every once in a while, you can catch a special. A while back, they were doing special on the frozen products. Sometimes they do specials on the case product. Or keep my buying fluid depending on what's on sale. I was looking at the prices of the places in town for Valentine's Day to go out. I said, holy crap, man. Yeah. You're going to spend some money, man. Yeah, a lot of dudes, a couple, $100, $50 a piece, or $65 for a single. Holy shit, man. By the time you add cocktails, tax, and tip, yeah, you might as well bring $200, man. I'm saying for about a half that money, I can go to Schuman's and buy the best steak imaginable, better quality than any restaurant town is going to serve you. Sometimes they've got seafood, sometimes they don't. It's really hard. Right now through Lent they do, though. They were advertising some mahi-mahi today. I almost considered getting out, but I was already back home. By the time I saw that ad, I didn't want to get back out again. So like I said earlier, we did make it through the first Friday so far. It's not over yet. But yeah. So again, for dinner, it was the coconut shrimp. But for breakfast, I just made some banana nut oatmeal, right? So I had I had one banana left. Had some walnuts. Oatmeal kind of tastes like banana bread. It was really good. Added some spices, baking spice. A baking spice blend, I should say. For lunch, I had two nice sized tomatillos left, so I gave them a nice char all around, and then I cooked them down for a couple hours anyway. Let them get good, happy, with some stock, some vegetable stock, okay. Anyway, I just had a simple, verde enchiladas montadas, a nice green sauce. We had some. We didn't make them; these we bought. We're soft taco-sized corn tortillas, so it made nice, little enchilada. Put an egg on top. So had some protein. Still got the protein. Didn't have the meat. So we did pretty good for this particular Friday. It's usually the ones when I've worked a long day and I come home, but lately I've been working Friday, so I'm kind of lucky. And I forget, or I wake up hungry in the morning and I put the bacon in the oven. And, oh crap! It's Friday. And some say bacon in the oven, Tom. Yeah, I know most restaurants will do it this way, and it comes out perfect. Some like to put them on a rack. If you want to do that, that's fine. I usually just put them on parchment, though. If you're using a cheaper quality bacon, you're going to get a lot of grease, and some people like to empty the grease about halfway through. But if you're using a good quality bacon, you do not need to do this step. And a lot of it depends on your oven. I know I've had a couple ovens that will cook at a different times, but I like 400 degrees, and sometimes it changes throughout the year. So and the thickness of the bacon will make a difference. So I do 400 at about 50 to 20 minutes, depending on the thickness of the bacon. A seriously thick cut, I'll do 20. Thinner cut, about 15. Somewhere in the middle. Again, you gotta use a little common sense there. But I do like the way it comes out better cooked in the oven rather than the skillet. Or even growing up, when we had mom and dad had the hot truck. You cook it on the flat top, it comes out nice too. But boy, there's something about the way it cooks in the oven. It cooks nice and flat. And I found the older I get, and I don't know why it is, because I didn't used to like a crispy bacon, but now I don't. And I don't like super crispy, right? But yeah, I do want that, at least that fat portion. I want that fat portion to be a little crisp, Those of us that grew up on microwave bacon, yeah, you kind of like that. My daughter likes it so floppy. She likes it just, damn near raw. And there was a time I liked it softer than I like it now. I like a little crispier. Not 70s diner crispy, but the funny thing is my daughter likes the bacon very, very floppy, but our granddaughter comes over here because she likes Gramps bacon because she likes it crispy. So Gramps always makes the bacon the way she likes. Right? She likes the crispy bacon Gramps makes. So. And she told me one day, she said, "Gramps, can you tell Mama how to make bacon?" And both my wife and I start cracking up. I said, "Yeah, because your mother likes to be told what to do. She's not good about accepting constructive criticism, so I let that one go." No, I'm not going to tell your mama how to cook the bacon. That's going to get me in nothing but trouble. Anyway. I will be honest, though, in my teens, the first time we started having microwave bacon, we didn't get a microwave until I was about 14 years old. So, and I actually liked it better. I did kind of like, because it get done, but it was still floppy and pliable. So I kind of like that. But again, the older I get, I love that. I like it just a little crispy. I'm not talking 70s diner crispy, right? But I do like it crispy, crispier. But again, it just cooks up so perfect in the oven, man. If you've never tried it, try cooking in the oven. Try it, man. And it's a lot less mess. It's a lot easier. It's one step, right? So I get my pan out. I put the parchment down, put the bacon down. I stick it in the oven for whatever time, And if you've never done it before, 415 minutes, and then take a look at it, see if it's the way you like it. And I've kind of had to adjust the time. Sometimes it depends the time of the year. It depends on the bacon, the thickness of the bacon. The quality of the bacon makes a big difference too. It's cheaper bacon that's fattier is going to cook a lot quicker, right? A meatier bacon is going to take a little bit more time. But yeah, so I do that, and I can time the rest of my breakfast rather than, having to flip bacon over in a skillet, right? So again, I put the bacon in the oven, and the bacon's done. I'm not worrying about the bacon for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then from there, I can do the other components to the breakfast. I can get the potatoes on, or whatever else I need to do, whatever is going with that particular breakfast. It makes breakfast a lot easier, man. You're just going to have to take my word for it. Give it a shot, man. I would not steer you wrong. I did want to try about 1.5 ounces of this neat before I went with a cocktail, because I was kind of curious. And the stuff is amazing. And while I was drinking that, all I could think about is putting it in a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. I didn't want to go old-fashioned, in all honesty, because I didn't want to add any more sweetness per se. And again, I do prefer a Manhattan to an old-fashioned most of the time. Again, sometimes it depends on time of year. For instance, for me, I love a Manhattan, or in this case, a Manhattan-inspired cocktail. Fall, winter, and even just early spring. But as it gets warmer, yeah, I'll tend to go more for the old-fashioned. Or I'll go, when we get into summer, then I'm all about the whiskey sour. Sometimes a Boston sour, the egg white with a little fluff on top. That's a Boston sour. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, it is. Sorry, Peter, I didn't see you there. Let me put that comment up there. I just noticed a comment. Sometimes I get talking. Yeah, it is a Buck Owens. or Balcones, however they pronounce it. Yeah, so here's the thing, Peter. I found this clearest out about 2 weeks ago at Harder House of all places, because they're usually high as hell on their liquor. They probably don't want me saying that. They're usually higher than most, but every once in a while, you can find a bargain. They had this clearest out for about $15, so I picked it up. I wish I didn't have the money to buy 2 bottles at the time, but because I was buying a couple other things as well. But they had this clearest out, so I picked it up. It is good. So I will say, in all honesty, now that I've had it at a clearance price, it is worth full price. Peter says, I've seen a lot of different variants they always put out in Arizona. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. I kind of forget about where you've been. Yeah. So I've got a rye as well that I tried a couple weeks back when I first bought this stuff. Excuse me. They also had these Mooney's products marked down for $12.99. The $12.99, yeah. The chocolate cherry whiskey and their bourbon here. So I picked up that, and I picked up this, and then the rye. And that was all I could afford at the time. But anyway, yeah, it is good. Yeah, again, it was about 2 weeks ago, so I kind of doubt Harder House still has any left. And it was the Harder House on Republic, if that helps you, if you want to go out there and give it a look. The thing is, again, I was a little misleading earlier. Sometimes they're usually a little bit higher on their base products, but when they have stuff on sale, and not necessarily clearance, but on sale, I bought a lot of things there with the sale price. Again, you just have to look. You can't go in there thinking I'm only buying this, right? You have to go in there thinking, okay, if they got something good on sale, I'm going to pick it up. And in this case, they had a lot of things clearanced out at an incredible price, so I did pick them up. The rye was $19.99. The bourbon was $14.99, and the two Mooney's products were $12.99. So for those of you watching me that are curious, I met Peter at Banter Brewing. Fridays like to hang out at Banter. So, and Banter's one of those sleeper breweries. They've been open just a little over a year or so, I guess. And the first time I was out there, everything was solid, nothing was wrong. I thought, "Man, yeah, everything's good, but it's not out of the box." And throughout the year, they've proved me wrong on several occasions. They've gotten further and further out of the box the longer they've been open. And I think right now, in my opinion, they're really the brewery on the cutting edge, and they have one of the best brewers in town. Man, the stuff they're doing right now is just insane. They just put out a sweet stout. So they do this triptych, right, where they do a base brew and then two other versions of. So right now, in fact, it was just unveiled, is their sweet stout. So they got a sweet stout, and the two other versions of that are a cold brew and a strawberry. So yeah, so a sweet stout is going to give you notes of chocolate. So you can imagine that with the coffee, you get a little bit of chocolate and coffee. And then with the strawberry, it tastes just like a chocolate dipped strawberry. And I said, that's what I taste, chocolate dipped strawberry. He said, yeah, that's what I was going for. He said, well, that's what you got. Anyway, as I get to the end of my cocktail here, so when I first poured this neat, right? So I first poured this neat, and one of the reasons I bought it is I love pot still whiskey. Now you tend to think of pot still anyway. For me, anyway, Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey is famous for pot still. Bourbon. This thing is just crazy good. So when I had the ounce and a half, I noticed it was incredibly sweet on the nose, but the flavors weren't that sweet. So okay, all right, I see where they're going. It was balanced impeccably well. A lot of oak and spice in the finish. And I said, oh man, I think this would be perfect for a cocktail. So the name of this video, the name was, anyway, the title of this video was Cocktails and Beer. So yeah, I'm going to have one cocktail with you, then I'm going to be an Irish alcoholic and switch to beer. And I'm going to have the Bon Bon Zari Night, a bourbon barrel aged imperial stout that adds cocoa nibs and espresso. So we got kind of a variation on a theme here. So let's pour this right in front of you. Get some, there we go. There we go. I want to get a little head on there. Yeah, well, it's a great pot still. A lot of Irish. For a long time, I was more of an Irish whiskey drinker. So yeah, the best Irish whiskey is always pot still. In my opinion, I suppose I should say. So there we go. Look how beautiful that beer is. They've been doing this for a few years now. They usually do a second version. They didn't this year. I was kind of bummed. Last year, they did a 5-barrel. The Bon Bon is always the most popular, I suppose. But for me, that 5-barrel they did last year, oh, man, that thing was just gorgeous. But people like stuff. People like additives. They like adjuncts. They like adjuncts. They like stuff in the beer. I'm a bit of a purist, I guess. But I will say that, I mean, every once in a while, you'll try something, and oh, my goodness. I'm just not a fan of the several adjunct beers, right? I put one thing in, two things in, but if you're checking 6 things in to try to concoct something, I'm not in, man. The nose on this is just insanely gorgeous. Again, you do feel those cocoa nibs. You certainly feel the espresso. I bet the espresso probably comes out much bigger. Again, anybody have any questions or comments, throw it up there. I will answer. If you'd like to be part of the video, I'll send you the link. Just let me know. Oh, man. So I'm running this my 7 o'clock or a little longer than usual, having the 2. I'll probably still try to come on for a 9. Kind of depends. I don't always do a 9. Sometimes my wife and I start watching a movie after I do the 7. So it kind of depends. It depends on the mood, man. I am in a pretty good mood today. I had a nice afternoon. Did something a little bit out of my comfort zone, trying something new, trying to teach an old dog a new trick. Again, a kind of a variation on a theme. It required my beer knowledge, but then I had to learn something new as well. I always get a little nervous, but I was trying not to be, but and I feel like I tend to live a Murphy's Law kind of life. Anything that can go wrong, well, So I kind of expect that, right? I know things are going to go wrong, so I try to. I'm always thinking ahead of how to counter, how to counter when something goes wrong, because I know it's going to go wrong. Anyway, I digress. For those of you that haven't quite put it together, I'm not really in this, nice cocktail lounge with the soft jazz playing in the back that keeps panning in and out like we're in a Hitchcock movie. But I just kind of like the background, I guess. I use it every once in a while when I'm trying to create a mood. It just reminds me of the old Second City John Candy when he did the character, when he kept going in and out of the camera. He would be laughing. He got this kind of maniacal laugh. Anyway, you had to know the old Second City TV, I guess. SCTV. Oh, the man was a genius. Way ahead of his time. Died way too young. Oh. So let me show you all that whiskey one more time if you're trying to find it. It's 92 proof. Texas pot still bourbon. I tell you, this stuff is good. It is rather impressive. And I thought about buying it before, but I did. I always I won't say it. Well, maybe I am. I was gonna say I'm not gonna say I'm cheap, but maybe I am. I am. I'm a little on the frugal side. So when I have a specific amount of money to spend, I look at just those products for that amount of money, right? So for the sake of argument, I say I've got $40 to spend. I want to buy the best $40 bourbon for the money. So I'm looking at everything on that shelf for $40, and I'm weighing a lot of things. I'm weighing, their description of the product. I'm weighing the proof. I'm looking at all these things and what is the best bang for the buck for this particular money. But when I found this for $15, yeah, I mean, But I will say, whatever you find the sticker price at, it is definitely worth it. The bourbon really is that good, and the pot still. Oh man. They describe it. I'm going to paraphrase slightly, though. They describe it as complex yet approachable, and they're exactly right. That is exactly what it is. It gives you a lot of aromas to decipher, a lot of flavors, but it all comes together so easily as it never comes off as off-putting in any way or even difficult. Uh, oh mercy! So I think for future videos for the rest of the day, I'm gonna put my screen back here. I'm gonna kick some music on and sit over here with my with my studio backdrop. Right, I got the St. Patrick's theme already up, so we're gonna go back there so I don't have to square it up to the video. It's always a little difficult kind of squaring it up to the screen. Oh mercy! I will try to be back for the 9, but again, we're gonna see how the night goes. We start watching a movie. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes we do that on Friday nights, the wife and I, because we're old people. That's kind of what old people do. We watch a movie and go to bed at 9 o'clock, or go to bed at 8:30 a lot of nights. Yeah, I'm old, man. I'm old and tired and beat up. I'm having to really, your life has to be a balance, right? If you do a lot of things in your younger days, like if you're doing all nighters or staying up to 3, 4 in the morning, at some point as you get older, you've got to balance that out by going to bed at 8 o'clock, which is what I've noticed. I tend to find myself going to bed earlier and earlier. I remember making fun of my parents for going to bed at 8:30, and now I get it. Okay, I'm sorry, Pop. It's my bad. Yeah, my bad all around. Then again, my parents were kind of nuts. And I mean that in the nicest way possible because there were 5 of us kids and we were spread out, man. There were 17 years from the oldest to the youngest. And I'm thinking that's nuts. My wife and I did not want any part of that. We wanted to have our kids as close together as humanly possible, which is why we had them 9 years apart. Yeah, again. So yeah, as a kid, you think, okay, mom and dad, why did you do that? It was by accident. As an adult, yeah, our kids were 9 years apart by accident. Things happen, and that's the way it goes. If I had had my brothers, but yeah, sometimes you just can't help how things turn out. I will say though, so there's only 2 kids in our family that were planned. The last 3 of us were unplanned, and we were all 5 years, 2 months apart. I will tell you, when my youngest brother turned 5, my mom wouldn't let dad get near her. I'm not even sure they slept in the same room that year. Mom wasn't taking any chances. There was not going to be a child sick. She was rather certain. I think Dad kind of lost all ambition too. I think he just no. That's okay. I'm just going to drink too much and pass out on the couch this whole entire year. And that's pretty much what he did. Every night he'd come home, drink too much, pass out on the couch. Every drink too much, pass out. It became a thing, right? We had a pool going there for a while as kids. Well, 4 of us. The other one was too young. I was young, but I was, wily for my age, let's just say. I had experienced some things at a young age. Anyways, I digress. Yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up before I say something. I am Tom the Beer Whisperer and Whiskey Whisperer, beer evangelist, whiskey evangelist, prolific beer drinker, prolific whiskey drinker, per rare wisdom and ah. She's biscuits and gravy, all around good guy. Hey, thanks everybody that tuned in for tuning in. I'll be back later, most likely. You know, probably.